crafters, welcome to my channel. We are going to get back at working on our Blue Fern mini album, and so this is the second tutorial. Before we get started, this is, just so that you know, it's a Jane's Memoirs by Blue Fern. I'm also using some cardstock from My Colors cardstock. And this color here is Beryl Brown, and let's see what this color is. I'm also using, this color is sandpaper. That's the colors I've used so far. And then also I'm using the cream Artisan cardstock, which is only sold by Country Craft Creations, and this is the cream. And I'm using the olive green Artisan cardstock and the burgundy Artisan cardstock. So if you're wondering about colors and families, that's what I'm using. So the other thing is, when the last time we put the papers in here, I put a frame down here with an opportunity for a tag in there, and I'm also going to be putting this frame on there. And I wanted to show you the two dies that I've used, or die sets that I've used, so that you know what I've been using, and possibly if you can find them or if you have them in your stash. So this die right here, I used the small die. This is the small die of the month for January 2021 by Spellbinders, and I used just the outside of that and matted it on the Artisan cardstock, both the olive green and the cream. And then I also used this die set by Waffle Flower, and last time I looked, I didn't see a name on this one. Just says craft die. Let me see. I'm not sure which one it is, but this is bigger than, it's got to be 5 by 7, because this is not an this is more of an A2 size than this is. This is more 5 by 7. So basically, the single frames that I cut out, the bigger ones, I don't think I have them. I have some bigger frames that I cut out, and I cut out of just these two. I put them together. And then once this came out of here, I took these frames and I cut out, I have an example here. Let's see. I cut out the rest of these frames, so it would cut 1, 2, 3, this tag in the middle as well. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in just a little bit. So that's what I'm using. And so supplies for this, you can use whatever you have. You don't have to use what I use. You may have things in your stash that will work just fine. So please remember to do that or use that. So we're going to go back through and finish up a couple little things that I made some decisions on. Right here, I originally said I wanted to put and tuck a tag into here, but I made the decision that I wanted to put a mat in here rather than like a tag, because I didn't want these pages to get worn out. So I decided I was going to put this brown piece of the My Colors cardstock in there, and then I'll put a tag down into this pocket. The other thing I wanted to tell you about that it's not bad, but I'm not overly happy with, is when I shut this book, you can kind of see, I mean, it's very minute. Somebody else might not notice it, but I do, because I'm the person making it. I'm not sure I would have wrapped that lace around there, because it's a little bit of it is peeking off. I pushed some in, but I still have some peeking off around this corner as well. So far this is okay, and I'll play with that later to see if I can make that a little bit better. But that was just my suggestion. I probably, I don't know. Again, this is the first time I've ever made this, so next time I may tuck it underneath. Rather than tucking it under this cardstock, I might tuck it under the pattern paper and then that gives me a little bit more leeway when it comes to tucking it in and not having it show on the front cover or show on the side. So from my experience, that's what I would do. So let's go ahead and let's get this small pattern or piece of, mat down. And this is cut at 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. So a 3 by 4 picture will fit on there just fine. And I'm not going to leave it open on any of the sides. I mean, there'll be the sides open there, but I'm not going to leave this mat open anywhere so that it could be a pocket or anything like that. I just want to put it in, put it down, and then allow the picture to be matted on and underneath those cuts in the paper. I just think that it'll protect that a little bit more. It might get a little shabby or rolled once the picture gets in, but that's perfectly okay. It looks a little bit more vintage that way. But I thought this way we could take, somebody could tuck in their picture like that. This is a little bit bigger than that, so I think it could look really nice if it just really married with the pages really well. So that will look good. So the other thing that I made a decision on is in this inside flap, we put this in here, and we left this open so that we can put a tag in there, and I'm still going to make that tag. But then I took one of those, just the plain frame, the smaller one, and I stacked 2 together just to give it a little bit more sturdiness. And I also matted it on the cream Artisan Cardstock, and I left the top of this open so that a picture can be tucked in. And I'm going to wait and see what I have left in my papers at the end, because I may put something in there to just so that it isn't just plain cream cardstock. And my plan is to put it right here on my book so that there's a spot for a photo itself. The frame, the size of that is overall with the matting is 2 5/8 by 4 5/8, and the frame itself was 4 3/8 by probably 2 3/8. That's about the size of what the outside of that frame is. So, but this is where you can see where my top is open, so make sure I get that to the top of my page. I almost put it on upside down, but giving you that explanation, it helped to save me from having another creative opportunity. A couple are okay, but not too many. So put that down right there, and then that gives us a photo opportunity right up there, not messing up our young lady here. And we are good to go on those pages. The only thing that I need to do for sure is put something down here, get my tags here and tags here. But that I'm going to leave for the final video. And then, so we've got the page 1 done. Now we're going on to page 2 and 3. And what I did last time is I added this small flap and put the paper on that. And what I ended up doing was adding my magnets on here, and so I'm all set and ready for that. The inside here, I am going to do just photo mats and some of the pattern paper, but the pattern paper really I just need to use are the scraps. So I'm going to leave that for now. But what I am going to do is I'm going to mat the inside of this so that we have that done, because I'm going to be putting some of the pattern paper on there. So let's do that. And I apologize, I hope that I'm not jumping around too much. Sometimes that's just the way my brain works. When I'm doing something like this where I have a specific amount of paper, I want to make sure that the best design paper goes to the best areas, and I have enough of it to for the mini album that makes sense. So I would rather cover those larger areas, and especially on this book because as I said in the beginning, I wanted to make sure that the papers had an opportunity to speak to whoever looked through the album. And I like, as some people say, I don't know if that's everybody, but a lot of times what I'm doing when I decide how I want to lay out my album based upon the paper. Now, I'm not that, as I would say, an esoteric crafter like that I just, you know, I wait for the feelings. It's not about that. It's just that I just know what I want to see with the specific types of paper that I'm using. So there's some that I would do much more flips and flaps because it aligns with that paper pattern much better. But this one is, paper is so beautiful that I just want to show off the beautiful colors and patterns on it. And then the photos can be the accents to the beauty of the paper. So this might be good for, you know, like a wedding shower, because you may not have a ton of photos, or it could be good for prom, because, you know, you'll have some photos, but you won't necessarily have a million. And there's going to be lots of opportunities for photos here, as well as when this matting goes in. So we've got that down. I was going to put a small pocket or just a tuck pocket on here, but I didn't really have enough of the paper scraps, let's say, to do that. So I just decided this would be look nice, because if we wanted to do a photo, we could do a photo here, or it might fit nicely to do like a 2x3 or 3x2 here. So if you know, you can kind of plan how you want to do that, and whether, even if we do photos in here, maybe it would even be nice to put some photo corners in and keep it to kind of more of a vintage elegance with putting that down. So, all right. So the next page that we're going to do is we're actually going to do this side, and I am going to do the same thing with my papers that I did before. I'm going to put this down here, and this is the paper that has the flowers with the Emma, a novel, written up there. So just trying to dry fit that again. And I'm laying this completely down. I'm such a sucker for florals. I was going to use this side because I thought it was really nice along the side edge, you know, down like this, but these flowers were so gorgeous. I just couldn't resist. So, oh well. Flowers it is. So, we'll get that all down. And then I am going to take this, this was the 3 die cuts, and I'm actually going to take and put that down here like a small pocket or a tuck spot for something thin, nothing too big or heavy in there. I may even put ephemera piece or a tag or something across here. We'll see where it goes once we get to that point. So I'm going to go to very much the outside of the pocket with my glue as narrow as I can, and then just keep that top side open. And put that down. I'm gonna squish that up just a little bit, only to hopefully give me a little bit more room in there. Oh, here, let me just do this. Yeah, so we're good there. Just won't put any really big thick tag in there or anything. We'll just see what we've got at the end. So then what happens is that goes across there, and again we're going to do matting on the bottom. So the next page is, this is 2, this will be 3. So on page number 3 on our books, what I did was I took this pattern paper and I just did a straight cut going all the way across, and I am also looking at possibly putting some frames along here and possibly one in here, but leaving this just as it is. And what did I do with those frames that I had? One of the things I was thinking about, oh, and I didn't mat these. That's okay, I'll get those next. Possibly doing something like this, and then, oh, that's too far down. And then maybe something even like that. So it gives us 2 photo opportunities down on this page. But I'm going to wait on doing this, and just so you know what my thought process is that it can get some nice photo framed pieces in there, and I want to look for some other pattern paper to be put behind those frames, but for now we're going to go ahead and do these. I also went ahead and did my magnets on here, so those are done. And just let me do this side first. All right, so we've got this beauty. I do use ribbon at times to close the flips and flaps of my pages, and that's something you absolutely can do, or tabs if you don't like to use a lot of magnets. I have a little bit of I like magnets, so I actually like them better than the ribbon and lace in my books. So you'll probably see me use more magnets than anything on my books. So it looked like it was coming up. All right. Get this piece off, and let's get our glue on the back of this. So as far as supplies go, I have 1 sheet of the pattern paper from the Blue Fern collection, 1 piece of the designer paper, for each of the patterns. So if you're looking to buy the collection from Country Craft Creations, so you know how many of the designer's paper I started with, you would be good with 1 pack. And I don't know how much of the solid cardstock I've used yet, and sometimes I actually end up using a lot of scrap, so it's going to be hard to tell you how much of it I'm actually going to be using, but what I can tell you is that with the My Colors cardstock, I got 2 of the barrel, 2 of the sandpaper, and I also got 2 of this brighter pink. But for right now, I'm staying with more of the muted tones and using burgundy with these colors. So that's what I'm doing. So next on this front of this page, what I wanted to do was to put down our some pockets, or 3 pockets going up. Now I cut this out last night, so forgive me. I just want to see what I did here again. So I don't get it upside down. Ah, goodness. Oh, I think this is the way we go. There we go. And there. Okay. So I am going to put I think I'm going to put the papers on first, and then I'll glue them down. Just because it's a little bit of a flatter surface. And with this, I'll give you the measurements in the pockets in just a moment. But all the matting then is cut 1/8 shorter than what the original measurements, the flat measurements of the pockets are. So that will give you a 1/16 of an inch with the burgundy cardstock showing. So for this pocket, there is 2 flaps on this side, so that is an inch that will be added to the size of the pocket. So this pocket, this pocket is 6 inches, and you're going to score a 1/2 inch on either side. And this end of the pocket, or the width of the length of the pocket, is 3.5. So the matting on here, because the pocket is 3, would be 2 7/8, and the matting for the front, because it would now measure to 5, would be 4 7/8. That's what your matting would be for that. Then our second pocket was cut the same length. Ugh, I always do that upside down. Same length at 6 inches. And of course the pocket itself will be 5 inches, but the width on this is a little bit different. Not the width, but the length of it really. That is the height of it is 3 1/4. So my paper, the pocket measures 2 3/4. So the paper would be 2 5/8 this direction, and 5 7/8 this. No, I'm sorry, 4 7/8 lengthwise. Just the same length as what the other pocket was. Oops, that's for that one. It's this one. And basically, if you want to think about the pockets, is that what I tried to do is to keep the measurements to very similar to what the page size is. So basically, I'm cutting this at 5 inches, even though this is really 5.5, but that's because we have that edging on there. So that should help you with how wide you want to make this pocket, because you don't want it hanging over your edges on that. So we are also going to put this down, and then we are done with the matting here. Okay, so, and how we're going to do this is I am going to put the first pocket down, and I'm going to make sure that there is enough room on this side so I'm not hanging off, and enough room to have a bit of a border on this side. And then we'll put the next pocket in. And when you're gluing this down, make sure that you're gluing this bottom flap to the top of your side hinges, because you don't want to have a problem in putting your tags in by this being right in the way in the middle. So you always want to put your bottom over the side hinges. I think my eyes are crooked. I was looking at, when I was gluing something down the other day, I was looking at this, and a lot of times when I'm working on things, I like to work on them sideways like that. And I thought, I wonder if that's why I feel like sometimes I get papers put down crooked, because I'm so used to looking at things sideways that I'm having difficulty seeing it right way up. So this one, I want to take this and literally tuck it right under the edges of this pocket so that it looks continuous. That's what we're going to do next. And it's not going to go far under, it's just going to sit partially under so that it looks like it's coming out from the pocket. It's like probably a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch under. It's not any more than that. It just helps to give us more of a seamless run of the pocket and the paper. But this one also has a bottom to it, so it is not going to have the tag falling through if you put a shorter tag in there. It will fit well. All right, now our last little pocket. Now this one does not have a base to it. I'm going to fit this one again underneath this pocket, just a little ways. I want to make sure I get it up before I put my glue on. Alrighty. And I'm looking at this. My piece of paper to mat the top, I think, is a little bit too small. So I may have to cut a new piece or a different piece. That's okay. It'll just be a small scrap. Sorry for my head if it was in the way. There we go. And then that way, what we've got is we've got our paper running all the way up. Now I don't have enough for the top piece, so I think I'm going to look for a different paper. I know I had one here, but it's, oh, here it is. I'm not sure why I thought that would work. I could tuck this in and then put something along the top here, because this was the last of that paper. But you know what, I'm going to wait, because otherwise I'm thinking that I may take and put like a, I have some pattern paper that has lace on the back of it. So I'm going to just try a couple things and then I'll see where I go from there. So basically that page is done though. We just need to put tags onto that, and I will come back to that. So I just don't want to hold up going into the other pages and working on some of these, finishing up at least what I've got tonight. So I went to the next pages, 4 and 5, and what I'm going to be doing here is I am going to run these across the middle of our pages here to make a spread. I just love this pattern paper, and it was just so, so beautiful. And do I have it in the right direction? Yep, because that went up that way. Yeah, here, this is actually the right direction. So, and so then that way I'm also going to probably put possibly a photo mat along here, maybe a photo mat along here, but I'm going to make a decision on that. So let's put our magnets in first, and that way we can get these papers down. Again, I do have to apologize. I do kind of flip and move as I go, but if you think about it, this way, as you're cutting your papers along with me, we're cutting more of our solid sheets to put on the bigger areas. And then we'll come back and put on some of our scraps. So we should probably have pretty similar scraps left over if you're cutting them in the same direction that I am. And let me show you what I'm doing with my paper. So just to give you an idea, when I'm cutting out on my pattern paper, because it's 12 by 12, I usually look and see what's on the paper itself, and I look at what's on the back. And I think this is very pretty, and maybe I'll use it for one of the pages, but I really like this here. So when I cut this, I want to make sure that I'm leaving enough that will maybe allow me to use this side of this paper. Because actually, that's what I did with, I did that with this paper. I think it was that paper. Let me just grab real quick so I can show you. So, yeah. So this paper actually, it fits together over here. It actually fits together. I don't know if you can see that. It fit together over here. But I really liked this part of the paper on this side. And on the other side, I really like this. So I made sure that I cut this for the smaller page so that I could put it on this side. And then I could use this side to have enough for my wider or broader page, or maybe the back cover. I'm not sure. So I always will take these and I cut off the manufacturer strip along here as well. And then I go to measure my pages and I look for the patterns or areas that I really want to showcase in the book. So that's why I'm doing a lot more of the bigger pages as we go, rather than doing all the fine details. Now this, like this piece here, the reason why I did this is I had a bigger piece of paper and I knew I could cut it so that it ran upwards, and I wasn't, because I didn't have scraps that ran upwards, I had a lot of scraps that actually ran horizontal. So, and I wanted to have it go up in all of the patterns so you could really see the beautiful paper. So that's the reason why I used that bigger piece for that spot there. So hopefully that helps a little bit to the logic of my madness and that you will understand that as we go. So. And I have to tell you that there are some books that I have done where I do go and I do all one page. I do everything on one page and then I move on to the next. Again, it's just depending upon the pattern paper and really what it looks like and what I'm showcasing or what my thoughts are behind the paper. So there are some people out there that do some tutorials that and they sell their tutorials, which, you know, that makes sense. And they have it all written down and all perfect and everything is exact. And I think that's wonderful, but it's just not how I work. And hopefully I'm doing this straightforward enough that it isn't too confusing. So let's get the backing of this off. Put that in my little garbage can. I actually took, I don't know if some of you have watched some of my other videos, but I have this little trash bin. This was actually one of my card boxes that I had made, and I just didn't really like the cover that I made for it. So I've been using this as a nice, kind of a trash bin, but also a bin to keep all my longer pieces in. I won't throw these away, but I can just shake off the trash of it and when I'm done. But I thought it looked like a pretty little bin for keeping my trash on my desk. You know, a girl's got to have something pretty, especially since I'm not the girliest of girls. Okay, I think that looks good. Let's... And the other thing is that you know, you don't have to use exactly all the same plain paper that I'm using. If you like pink and you like pink, maybe pink and brown together, I think would be beautiful with this collection. I just don't have in my stash any soft pinks that I would put with this. So that's why I'm going more with the beige and the brown. One of the things that Blue Fern does that I'm not always quite sure why they do it that way, and I have to maybe ask them. But a lot of the collections where I would add primarily a cream, I know there's white in here. A lot of their ephemera has a lot of, it's very stark white. And so I'm going to try to use it in this book because there's some really pretty pieces. But I kind of wish that they would tone down the white a little bit and make it a little bit more of a creamier white that would cross over from white to cream. Oh, wouldn't be good if I didn't. So I'm thinking on this page right here, I'm going to also do the matting for photo mats, and we'll do that in the next time around. I'm going to go ahead and get this on, and our magnets to hold this down. Oh, there's, I wonder. I wonder if I can get away with one this time. What do you think? Do you think I can? You know what? I'm not going to chance it because I don't want to have to rip my paper up. So I'm just going to put it down. And you know what would be nice is that if, I've heard some people use those metal pieces, like they use them for, I think for roofing or something like that. But I've never tried them. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever tried them and what you think about them. Me, I just have used these bigger and smaller magnets. They seem to work well, the basic gray, and what I get at Country Craft Creations. So you'll have to let me know what you think of that method of using magnet on one side and then the metal piece on the other. I'd like to know what your thoughts are of that. So we'll take this sticker off. I know I've done some of my books with no tape on it, but I don't know, I just decided I was going to start putting it back on just to keep it extra secure. Gosh, I almost hate to cover up the back of these pages. This is a beautiful page on this side as well. Sorry, I gotta look at these. I don't know, it's like, why, I think I cut these straight, but I feel like I can never get them to lay down as straight as I would like them to lay. So, alrighty, so that's the inside of that. And again, I will go ahead and I am going to do, we're going to put strips down the middle here. I probably will put a frame, you know, 2 frames on this spot, but then we'll decorate inside here. And I'm going to go to this back page and the back of the book. So I'm going to finish off doing this and this back part, and then I'm going to go back to finish off some of these other sections. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. I may just do some of the paper. I may do a waterfall on both of these. I'm not really sure yet. I want to, you know, put a little bit of interest into the mini album, but I don't want to overwhelm it either. So that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. There'll be a third, and if there's a fourth tutorial, it'll be just kind of maybe finishing up some of the additions to the mini album, and then we'll do a final walkthrough. So that will be it. So the third tutorial will be up sometime this weekend, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Have a great night. Thanks.